Most gardeners spend every spring racing against the calendar, starting seeds, prepping beds, amending soil, and, well, replanting the same vegetables year after year. But what if your garden could partially run itself? What if part of your food production didn't depend on replanting, reseeding, and, remembering everything on time? That's the beauty of set-and-forget perennial vegetables. Once established, these crops provide dependable harvests season after season with almost no maintenance. They quietly grow, expand, and produce without needing your constant attention. These aren't fantasy plants. They're real, practical workhorses that store their energy underground or in hardy crowns, ready to return bigger and stronger every year. Today we're going through 4 of the most powerful, productive and easy-to-grow perennial vegetables you can plant once and harvest for a lifetime. And of course, I'll walk you through exactly how to grow each one. Asparagus is the king of low-maintenance vegetables. Once established, a single planting can produce for 2 decades. Most gardeners fail with asparagus only because they rush it or neglect the initial setup, but once you give it a good start, it's nearly unstoppable. So, you'll want to choose a sunny location with well-drained soil. Dig a trench about 10 inches deep and place the crowns in the trench, making sure to spread the roots out like a fan. Space each crown about 12 to 18 inches apart. Then cover with about 2 inches of soil and, over the next few weeks, as shoots appear, gradually fill the trench. The only real maintenance, honestly, is keeping weeds down during the first year and adding a layer of compost or aged manure every fall. Do not harvest in year 1. In year 2, you can take just a few spears. By year 3, you're free to harvest as much as you'd like for 6 to 8 weeks each spring. It spreads, thickens, and produces automatically. Even drought doesn't stop established asparagus. Jerusalem artichokes, also called sunchokes, are so low maintenance that, honestly, some gardeners call them the plant you can't kill. They're big, cheerful, sunflower-like plants with edible tubers underground. They tolerate poor soil, drought and neglect, yet produce heavily once fall arrives. So, you'll want to plant the tubers about 4 to 6 inches deep and space them roughly 18 inches apart. A bed that's around 3 by 6 feet can easily give you a whole bucket of tubers each season. It's important to choose a spot where you really don't mind them spreading, because honestly, they will return year after year unless you completely remove every single tuber. Only water them during extreme drought, Mulch around the stems to help keep the soil nice and cool. When late autumn rolls around and the stems have died back, that's the time to harvest. Just be sure to leave a few tubers in the ground so they can regrow for the next year. They replant themselves. You don't even have to think about them. Just dig when you want food. Perpetual chard is a long-lived variety of Swiss chard that behaves like a perennial in mild climates and a biennial in colder areas. Gardeners love it because it produces tender green leaves for nearly 2 years without collapsing, bolting or needing replacement. Now, this one is perfect for anyone who wants fresh greens without having to replant all the time. So, you'll want to start with seedlings or seeds in early spring. Plant them about 12 inches apart in rich, well-drained soil, making sure there's plenty of organic matter in there. And, a little bit of nitrogen in the beginning will really help them leaf out nice and strong. Just harvest the outer leaves regularly, cutting them cleanly from the base and leaving the inner crown untouched. Oh, and don't forget to mulch heavily before winter if you're in a cold zone. In milder climates, it'll push out fresh leaves as soon as the temperatures start to rise. Once planted, it produces continuously. Even if you ignore it for a few weeks, it bounces right back. Many people forget that rhubarb is one of the most productive perennial vegetables for home gardens. It thrives in cold climates, tolerates heat with enough moisture, and comes back every spring with bigger stalks. Once planted, rhubarb can last, about 15 to 20 years without needing division. Plant rhubarb crowns in early spring, or, in fall. Set each crown 2 to 3 inches below the soil surface and space them at least 3 feet apart. Rhubarb needs space. Don't crowd it. Feed it with compost or manure once a year, usually in fall. Remove flower stalks when they form to redirect energy into edible stems. Don't harvest at all during year 1, take a few stalks in year 2, and, enjoy full harvests by year 3. After establishment, it practically grows itself. It's one of the first foods ready in spring, and honestly one of the most reliable, no-maintenance producers you can grow. What makes these perennial vegetables so powerful is their ability to survive without your constant involvement, Instead of depending on reseeding, these plants store energy underground or in their crowns, which is rather clever, really. Each spring, they push out fresh growth automatically, even if your schedule is, a bit chaotic, or the weather conditions aren't exactly perfect. This gives you, a dependable food source, lower garden workload, fewer seed purchases, beds that don't need replanting or tilling, and honestly, bigger yields every year as the plants mature. Set and forget gardening isn't just easy, it's smart. And as weather swings become more unpredictable, these perennial vegetables, they offer priceless stability. These 4 crops prove that a productive vegetable garden doesn't have to be a full-time job. Plant them once, give them a little care in the beginning, and they'll reward you with decades of harvests. If you found this guide helpful and want more practical, low-maintenance gardening wisdom, be sure to subscribe, like and share so we can grow smarter, not harder, together.